why everyone is here tonight. This week we are going to be talking about the hugely anticipated brand new album by Taylor Swift, Midnights. So, Midnights is the 10th studio album by American singer-songwriter Taylor Swift. It was released on October 21st, 2022. Midnights is a concept album about nocturnal contemplations written and produced by Swift and longtime collaborator Jack Antonoff. The album was a major commercial success and breaking numerous records globally. It achieved the Spotify feat for the most single-day streams of an album and topped the charts in 25 countries. It became 2022's fastest and best-selling album, the largest vinyl sales week of the 21st century. It's Taylor Swift's 11th number one album on the Billboard 200 because she reissued her albums, and spawned 10 top 10 songs on the Billboard Hot 100, the most for any album in the same single week. So it's just breaking records left, right, and center. This is the biggest record of this year. Chasing Dragonflies has been streaming this album nonstop. So here we go, Eric. I'm pretty nervous about what we're gonna say about this album. I feel like we might have the same opinion, but let's get into it.
You know what? I know that this podcast will either make us really famous or really infamous. So just say it.
Before you start like your critique of this, I was doing just like the blurb on this album. There was a section on Wikipedia with like a critical reception. Literally every single review, like best album ever, like production spot on, like everyone, like songwriting like the greatest. Like everyone loves this album. So just saying.
So I just want to start off with my review of just saying like I have Apple Music opened up here. Okay. So as you can see, let's see if I can move this into the camera. I'm very like okay, so as you can see here, you have the the numbers right here, right? So beside those numbers are stars. So that means the stars are singles. So if I scroll up, look how many freaking stars. I've never seen this before in an album. So just to let you know, and that's at 14 songs. 14 songs have become singles on this album.
Oh, actually, Eric, before we start this, like, did you just listen to the like main album, or did you listen to also like the bonus tracks and like the special edition tracks and all that stuff?
Oh,
it ends at Mastermind track 13.
It ends at Mastermind. Okay. So I have listened to both.
Okay, so you listened to every single track that is available, because I think there's like 3 or 4 different versions. I've only listened up to Mastermind. I only did the standard album.
Okay, fair enough. So I think Meet Me at Midnight is the last song on the album, is it not?
No, Mastermind.
Mastermind. Okay, because mine here says Meet Me at Midnight.
Meet Me Midnight is not on the album, on the main album.
Okay. All right. So Mastermind. So let's see here. Let's because I have listened to everything here. Let me just check. Okay, I got it up here. Let me just peruse through the list here quickly. Okay, so I know these songs very well. So, I've been listening to this album for a while now. So pretty much since it's released, because we went to Kelowna to visit a couple of friends of ours, and it was actually the week we were reviewing the Red Hot Chili Peppers there. So I was listening to that, and then of course it's like, let's listen to Taylor Swift. I'm like, you know what, that's gonna be on our review later on, so might as well get ahead of it. So I've listened to this many times, and coming from a Taylor Swift like person who loves Taylor Swift, like my wife, she says that she hated the album initially when she first listened to it. But every time she listens to it, she actually likes a lot more out of it. every time I listen to it, I feel like I get more critical of the album. uh, okay. I will say the good things first. Good things is Lavender Haze. I feel like that's a great song. Great song to start off the album. I feel like it's a pretty decent pop song. Like I was intrigued by it, even though some of the sounds in there were kind of pissing me off a little bit. Um, I feel like the best song on this album is, and quote me if I'm wrong, Cam,
Oh,
because I know you
jeez.
will,
Oh,
is
jeez.
Anti-Hero.
Okay, I could.
Anti-Hero, I feel like it's really well written. I feel like the lyrics are really well written because there's a
Yes.
lot of phrasing in the songs that are really good. Um, Other than that, like I just feel like this album, like I feel like this album, she was trying to make a modern sounding
Mm.
folklore album,
Ooh,
and it
that's a hot
literally
take.
like it kind of pissed me off a little bit because uh she has this thing where I think she learned from folklore was that like she'll add a lot of words into a phrasing,
Mm.
but in folklore she does it well, but
Mm.
here she doesn't do it well. Like I feel like this album is riddled with garbage in terms of just in terms of just like adding lyrics together like in a mass phrasing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the way like the way the lyrics are written, because I listened to this album many times. Some of the songs that are written in this album are very well written in terms of the lyrics. But I just feel like as a whole with the music and everything, there was just a lot I was missing. Like
Mm.
I feel like out of all the versions of this album I listened to, like because so 13 songs on an album,
Mm.
right?
That's her lucky
So
number.
that's her lucky number. Now, the 3 a.m. edition, which has everything, has 20 songs on it, right? There are songs in this version that I would rather have on the album
Oh.
than than her actual release. Like I feel like it's such a debauchery of it. Like for instance, like you could take out vigilante shit. That is the most garbage song
Yeah. Yeah, I
on this
agree with
album.
you. I agree with you.
I listen to this, I'm like, she is such a good musician. She is such a good lyricist. And you come out with a shit song like that. Like it I was just very upset with that. Very
Mm-hmm.
upset.
Mm-hmm. Jason Dragonfly says she feels personally attacked by this podcast.
See, I haven't even it's just my take on it first, okay? Okay, chasing dragonflies. So wait till we hear Kemp's because I feel like it's gonna be similar. I
Mm.
I think Anti-Hero is definitely the driving song of this album. Lavender Haze could be, a second. Snow on the Beach, I like.
No, don't say that to me. I freaking
Like
hate that song.
I don't mind it, but compared to everything else, like there's a song on here, Bigger Than the Whole Sky, which is on the actual 3 a.m. edition. It's not on the actual album.
Mm.
Um I felt like it was it's a really well written song,
Mm.
and it's very like it's very personal. It's very sad. So
Mm.
what fans are talking about, and it kind of hits it real because I'm like, this has something to do with more of a breakup. I didn't know what it was, and then Julia said, "Oh, the fans are saying that it's about like having a miscarriage, essentially." And I'm like,
Mm.
that actually hits home, and I feel like just like you would think that she's so famous that she has say in what goes on her album, and this is what pisses me off, right? Like like this song, Bigger Than the Whole Sky, should be on this album, right? There are
Mm.
songs on this 3 a.m. edition that should be on this album, and it pisses me off because it's like, oh no, I'm gonna put vigilante shit because and I know the fans are like going crazy over this song, but I just feel like it's such a trash song. Such a trash song. And there are tons of trash songs on this album.
Mhm.
I feel like the only song that I actually really enjoy on like 10 out of 10 is Antihero.
Mm. Antihero
Everything
is a
else
good song. It is a good song.
everything else I have a problem with, Kim. Everything else.
So, and this might not be right, but this is my sort of take on this album. Like, this is what happens when you have like a phenomenal songwriter who is just too heavily influenced by a producer. Like,
Mhm.
I think the strong points of Taylor Swift is songwriting, right? Like the ability to
Yeah.
have like those really catchy phrases that actually have meaning and throw it into a song. This album, for me, it was missing that songwriter element for a lot of it. And it was very much like, how do we get the right tone? How do we get the right mood? How do we get the production perfect? How do we get the notes perfect? Like, it was a very much a producer's dream of an album and not a songwriter's album, which is
Yeah.
fair enough if that's the angle you want to take. But at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of these songs were too weak and it was covered up by the strong production because I think we're both in agreement that the production on this album is like top notch. Like it sounds phenomenal.
It does, but it's all effects.
Yes. No. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's all effects.
Right. It's
And
I.
and I
It's overdone, but the production, like, it's obviously
mm,
there. Like it's done by, well, it's done by Jack. So like it's going to be good, but
like
it's very overdone.
another song that popped into my head, and I want you to finish your full thing, but Bejeweled.
Oh yes,
That
I fucking
that
hate that
fucking
song.
that fucking okay. I feel like it would be much better. Like I feel like it would be like six better if that stupid like was out of the damn song. Like I just like I get the song. I get what it's about. It's about like Taylor Swift's older now. Like she's our age, right? So she's not as like, a single person our age isn't as fancy
Mm,
as the younger crowd is,
right.
but I mean, like, just if you took that out of the song, like little things could make this album so much better. I feel like
Yeah. It was
take
overdone.
that goddamn instrument, whatever the hell it is, out of the song. Whoever's idea was that, I that would be the first person I fired.
It was
First
definitely it
person.
was definitely Antonov. Like Antonov is like he does all this stuff, right? He always wants to do more in terms of production. Like
Mhm,
that's his signature, which is fine, but it's just overdone here where it
mhm,
just really doesn't like it doesn't focus in on the strong points of like Taylor Swift's songwriting, which is my problem with this album.
mhm.
Chasing Dragonflies likes that little twinkly thing in Bejeweled, by the way.
I do. You know what's funny? Julia does too, and I couldn't. She was asking me my honest opinion, and sometimes she doesn't want my honest opinion on music because it really ruins it for her. And
Right.
this is one where she's like, no, I want to hear what your song, and I'm like, this song fucking sucks. like listen to this goddamn and I'm brutally honest, but I mean, yeah, like for those of you who don't understand what we're talking about, it's like people who are into film. It's like Michael Bay trying to direct a Shakespeare film. Okay, it's just gonna be so fucking ridiculous.
Explosions
yeah,
everywhere.
that is what this guy is. So just to give you the metaphor.
Chasing Dragonflies likes Maroon and Midnight Rain. Actually, Midnight Rain is one of those songs where I think production
Mhm.
was overdone. Like the effects were overdone, but not overdone. I think the effects were done well in that song. Obviously, there's a lot of effects in that one, and I really uh, like the auto filter on Taylor's voice on that one. Um,
Mhm.
but man, there's just so many like not great songs on this album that it's like hard to
I
listen to.
agree. It is very hard to listen to, and again, like the more I listen to it, the more critical I am of it. and and honestly, like if you listen to the 3 a.m. edition, I'm sure you'll agree with me. There are songs on there that would actually bring this album up. Like I would probably give it a high rating if those
Mm.
songs were on this album. But like you're totally right. the biggest thing that Taylor has for her is her lyrics, the
Hmm.
way she's able to write lyrics. And I feel like it's just drowning in
Yes.
this, it just drowns in this production,
Yeah.
because Anti-Hero, I think, is the only honest song on this album. Like, if you were to take
Mm.
the actual album, not the 3 a.m. edition, the actual album, that is the only honest song on this album.
Yeah, Antihero is like the least produced, roughly. Well, maybe Karma.
Hmm.
Here's my favorite songs on this album, and I would sort of side with you on Antihero being my favorite song because that's clearly the lead single, the best song on the album. But I'm gonna say
Hmm.
Mastermind just because there are certain like vocal chord progressions that she does in the pre-chorus. It's just like, oh, that's really creative. And like
Hmm.
I think that's how this whole album, when I listen to it, and I agree with you, the more you listen to it, the more you sort of nitpick at it because you notice like, oh, they did this production wise. Oh, they did this production wise. Like
Hmm.
you sort of like pick those out and like, oh, those you didn't need to do that, right? Whereas the first time when you're listening to it, you're like, oh, I need to listen to the song as a whole. But then you start analyzing it more and you're like, no, this is too much. They shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
Like, why did they add this effect? Why did they cut the bass here? Like,
Hmm.
there's too many small things where they tweaked it and it just took away from the overall song. Um, but my favorite songs on this album are probably going to be Mastermind and Antihero. And then I do
Hmm.
like Karma and Sweet Nothing. So the last three tracks on this album, I'd probably say are my favorite, with Antihero being up there also.
Hmm.
I think those are, I don't know, the least toyed around songs, I would say. Um,
Hmm. Where it still feels honest,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, what I like about Taylor Swift and her ability to write lyrics is that she's honest with what she writes,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
right? And she's really good at coming up with phrasing and lines, like extremely well at it. But like, just a small amount of songs on an album, like, that's pretty bad,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's, and Snow on the Beach, I get that out of my ear.
So
I
I
can't.
I know you don't like that song, and I guess the thing that I connect with it, because out here on Vancouver Island we do have beaches,
Hmm.
right? Unlike Ontario, so it is quite surreal to see snow on a beach. So like it is like I like, and I think I attach with that song more for the lyrics than I do the
Hmm.
actual like
Right.
musicality of the song. Um, but but granted, I still think that the only song that I kind of really like is Anti-Hero on this.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, there's just it's just overproduced. This is the point where she has to stop working with Jack and just like
Mhm.
move on to a different producer. It's very much like Max Martin. Like Red was like a phenomenal record, even though I hate Max Martin, and then like up to Lover, and about that time it was like, okay, you're sort of overdoing it with this like Swedish like
Mhm.
producer. Like it's becoming the same thing and it's getting weaker each time. So I think it's sort of gotten to that point. Maybe I will get surprised on the next album, but it's just the producer has now influenced too much of how these songs are going. Like
Yeah.
it really should just be the artist who's like dictating everything. Um, but yeah.
I mean, you go listen to the 3 a.m. edition, and
Mm,
it's literally like, there are songs on here that if they made it to this album, Cam, I would give it a high rating. I would give
mm,
it 100% a high rating, but I'm not.
cool.
So
Um, all right. We ragged on it quite a bit. We should probably give our closing thoughts and ratings. What do you think? What are you going to give this album, Midnights?
it's sad. In a way, it's almost like a curse that we've heard Folklore,
Mm.
because I feel like now everything that she comes out with, or everything she
Oh, it's going
creates,
to be
I'm
compared.
always
It's always going to be compared to that.
comparing it to Folklore,
Yeah.
right? And it's sad. It's really sad, but I gotta give this like a 4 out of 10.
Oh my God.
A 4 out of 10. I'm so
A
like, this is
four.
now. Midnight, Midnight's the actual album. I'm giving a 4 to 10. If they actually put the songs for like some of the songs from Midnight's on here, I would probably give it a 7 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Damn.
So that shit, just saying that. So all you Swifty fans out there that are coming like, oh, that fucking Eric, fuck him. Like, so just so you know,
Damn.
because I do think Taylor Swift is the biggest musician in the world right now. And
Yes.
she's a great songwriter,
Hmm.
probably one of the best songwriters of our time.
Yes.
But this does not negate that it's a trash album. So. Mhm. Sorry,
Um,
Taylor. Sorry, Taylor, if you're listening to this. We are huge fans. We are really huge fans.
I'm not gonna be that low on it because I think yes, there's a lot to nitpick on this album. But if you were to just like put this on in the background and sort of listen to it and not really focus in on all the high production value stuff, I think it might be a more enjoyable experience. So from that perspective, like it's still a decent enough album to listen to if you don't focus on specific elements of
Mhm.
the songs.
Okay.
And then in comparison to maybe her contemporaries in the pop sphere, this is obviously leaps and bounds above, just generic pop that's on the radio currently, for sure.
Mm.
Like, so maybe maybe we're looking at it a bit too harshly, because like
Mm.
if we were looking at like an Ariana Grande album, we probably wouldn't be as critical because we're not expecting as much. Whereas this out with Taylor Swift, we're definitely expecting like a masterpiece
That's
each time.
very true.
So
That's very true.
from that perspective,
Very
for
true.
me, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. I'm probably never going to listen to this album again, other than
Yeah.
like maybe Mastermind, the last few songs on this album. But there's no way I'm listening to this thing from front to back ever again.
I feel like this album would really be good if it was just Taylor, an acoustic
Oh
guitar,
yeah, yes,
and maybe like a backup. Like I feel like this
yeah,
album would be phenomenal if
yeah.
it was that. And again, I really like Taylor Swift. I really like how she's able to put these hidden Easter egg meanings in her
Mm.
songs and albums. Even it comes down to the titles, just everything from like her releasing the singles. I love that. Like it's very like the
Mm-hmm.
fans are just like you got them like by the fish hook,
Yeah.
right? Like I love that. I love that. I was very
Mm-hmm.
disappointed when I listened to this album. But she is still a great musician. I feel like we are closet Swifties at heart. And
I'll
you know
be.
what? You know what's funny? Because Julia said to me, she's like, "Would you go see her live?" I said, "100% I would."
Oh my god, I
And
can't.
it was this.
I.
This is exactly this is exactly the conversation that we had when she asked me, "Be brutally honest with this album." And I was like, she's like, "You just dissed her album," and I was like, "No, I 100% would because out of the 3 songs she might play from Folklore, I'd be a happy camper."
Yeah, that's true. No, literally,
Mhm.
like I think pre-sale tickets went on sale like 2 days ago or 3 days ago. I was actually there's no Canadian dates, and I was like, oh, plane tickets are only like whatever 300 $400 plus tickets. I actually did the math, and I was actually like contemplating going to a Taylor Swift show, with the plane ticket costs and the hotel
Mhm.
costs and everything. So
Yeah,
I
same with
was,
me,
yeah,
man.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It's just it's just over. I would be interested to see how these songs translate live, because clearly you cannot do these
Mhm.
songs like how they are on the album. Like doing this live would be a nightmare. Just imagine doing Lavender Haze with all those same tones and all the background reverb
That
and
would be
everything.
tough.
It
That
would be
would
a
just be
nightmare.
backing tracks.
Yeah,
It'd
it
just be
would just,
backing tracks, right?
yeah, it would just be lip syncing and it'd be horrible. So like doing
Mhm.
some of these songs live, I'd be really interested, because like as you said, if it was just an acoustic guitar, I think it would be phenomenal.
Yeah,
But it'd
because
be
deep
interesting.
down, and I've listened to this a lot of times, like deep down, like if you listen to the lyrics for itself, like they're very well written songs
Yeah.
lyrically. But again, it's just like if the lyrics isn't gonna hold the song together. Like like everything play has its part, right?
Yep. Yep. All right, so you gave it a 4. I gave it a 6. Pretty low ratings in my opinion, but
Mhm.
it's just
I
not
feel like
something.
anything above a 7.5 is considered good to us.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, like
Um,
between 6 and 7.5 is mediocre.
mhm.
Anything below that is trash.
Speaking of trash, so now we're done with Midnights, but for next week, for those not next week, in a month's time, for
Speaking
those,
of trash.
we're getting to it. We're getting to the trash part. In a month's time, for those of you who are following along with us every single week slash episode, the album that we will be listening to and reviewing will be Nickelback's brand new album releasing this Friday. Get rolling.
You know what's funny? I had it in my notes here that I'm like, oh, I can't remember if this made the actual list or not because we had some scheduling conflicts along the way, but okay.
Yeah, so Get Rollin' is actually being released, I believe, this Friday or
Mm.
not. But it'll be a month's time before we come back and start talking about this one. But Nickelback's
You're
brand new album, Get Rolling, will be discussed on the next episode. Um,
This is like, I'm sorry, compared to every other album art that they've come out with,
this
this
is
is
horrible.
so different. This
This
is
is
so
horrible.
different.
It's so bad.
Yeah. It's
I
like
don't
I'm
know.
watching an episode of Scooby Doo.
I don't know who signed off on this. Like, this is a horror. This is. It's not as bad as the Red Hot Chili Peppers
Mhm.
one, but this is pretty bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, yeah, Get Rollin' by Nickelback. That will be the album that we review next time. And Chasing Dragonflies is in disbelief that we're actually going to talk about this one. Cool. All right, so that's our album review section. Let's get to the very last part, Thief or Not a Thief.
Let's do it.
So, here we go. It's I'd like to teach the world to sing. Technically the Coca-Cola Company, it's their jingle, versus Shaker Maker by Oasis. So I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing is a re recorded song by the New Seekers that started off as a jingle by British songwriters Roger Cook and Roger Greenway. The jingle was then bought and used by the Coca Cola Company. The song was renamed Buy the World a Coke. It was released in November 1971. The commercial itself portrayed a positive message of hope and love, featuring a multicultural collection of teenagers on top of a hill singing the song. And a lot of people actually cite this commercial as one of the greatest commercials to be ever created. Shaker Maker is a song by English rock band Oasis. It was written by Noel Gallagher. It would be their second single, released on June 20th, 1994, off their debut album Definitely Maybe. It would peak at number 11 on the UK charts. Funnily enough, it remains the only single from the band's first two albums not to reach at least platinum status in the UK, and their only single of the 1990s not to be certified gold. So the original songwriters of the song noticed the similarities between the two songs and decided to sue Oasis. In court, Noel Gallagher cited the use of irony as his defense and ended up losing the court case. They agreed to a £500,000 settlement. No songwriter credits were exchanged.
Hmm. Okay.
So I Like to Teach the World to Sing by essentially the Coca-Cola Company versus Shaker Maker by Oasis. So Eric, thoughts on this one?
So this is one of the ones that was interesting because when you messaged me saying it was a Coca-Cola, like at first I got just the band The Seeker, so I listened
Mm-hmm.
to that
Yep.
versus the Oasis Shaker Maker, and it was literally like, okay, like I can see similarities in it, and I didn't really know who the new Seekers were, so like I was like, all right, maybe they heard them, right? You get that a lot in Thief or No Thief, but then when you message me today, hey, by the way, just to let you know, it's from the Coca Cola thing, right? And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, so I actually watched the commercial, and you know, for its time, it would have been a pretty big commercial. Like Coca
Mm-hmm.
Cola is definitely, I think, one of the number one iconic thing like symbols
Yeah.
if you will.
Brands. Yeah.
That like brands in the world that everybody, like, you show them that they know exactly what the fuck you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it did change my perception because we are talking about Noel and Liam Gallagher here. So I mean, Coca-Cola is one of those like major companies that I, once you told me, okay, it's the Coca-Cola version that we're reviewing for this segment, it's literally like Coca-Cola is like a big freaking company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they would probably 100% have people being like, "Hey, there's this Oasis song, Shaker Maker, that's out. This is bullshit. It is exactly like this commercial back in 19 whatever, right?
71. Yeah.
1971. So I 100% believe that this is possible because Shaker Maker, it definitely does have similarities, right? But it's
Yeah.
in a more of a slower tempo. So it's
Yes.
almost like most people who listen to it are like, won't even think about it. But obviously, somebody from the Coca-Cola company, like, there's got to be some section, which I believe in the company, in these major companies that are like, your sole purpose is to find copyright infringements. And I feel like this is exactly you know, the results of this section in within Coca-Cola, because nobody would spot this out
Yeah.
unless
No
they were
one.
looking for it.
Yeah. It's
So
it's so far
yeah,
fetched that it's like ridiculous.
like if you really sat down and analyzed it, yes, it is. It definitely is, but the tempo is so slowed down
Yeah.
that you don't notice.
Yeah. No, the melody is just like exactly the same. It's so spot on
Yeah.
that it's hard to deny that like it's not a copy because it's just like so similar. The funny thing is I was reading that because of the lawsuit, because of losing the lawsuit, now Liam, because they paid off so much money to Coca-Cola, he now sings the lyrics to "I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing" during live performances. He like doesn't do the Shaker Maker lyrics; he does the other lyrics.
It's probably because that's in the contract, probably. For the rest of your lives, and you sing Shaker Maker as a punishment, you will sing our Coca-Cola song.
Yeah. Chasing Dragonflies says it's the same song, but wants to believe they did it by accident. I don't. I don't know. Noel
The,
is.
the
I
thing
don't know.
is if this was any other commercial or brand, I would probably believe you chasing dragonflies. But because
Mm,
it's Coca-Cola, I feel like Coca-Cola spends a lot of money trying to, like, we need people to drink our product. So like you think the biggest drink in the world, one of the biggest drinks in the world is Coca-Cola, right? You
mm-hmm.
mix it with rum, right? Like everybody doesn't think, oh, like you mix a Coke drink, like a sugarcane drink. No, it's Coca-Cola, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So, so I mean, like I can't see a world where Liam or Noel Gallagher would have not seen this commercial
Yeah. Yeah. It was
ever.
the biggest commercial at that time. Like it was
Mhm.
everywhere. Yeah, and I think Liam in an interview also says they don't drink Coca-Cola anymore. They're a Pepsi family.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. All right. The
Mhm.
the songs are pretty similar, but Eric, thief or not a thief for you?
I'm gonna say thief. I'm
Hmm.
gonna say an artistically thief because the song is different enough,
Hmm.
but it's like any musician listening to both songs would say all they did was decrease the tempo. That was it. So I think it's definitely a thief.
Yeah, I'm on the
100%
same
thief.
boat. Like the songs are exactly the same. The melody is exactly the same. There's no way it's any different. But who did it better, Eric?
You know, there's just something about Oasis that has just that just has that hook, and
Mm,
even with the voice, the vocals, like everything. I'm gonna have to choose Oasis.
Yeah, it's just something about Liam. He's not the best singer in the world. I don't even think he sings in pitch most of the time, but there's something about Oasis, especially those first two albums. It's just magic, whatever they did. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm on you on I'm with you on that one. Oasis. Chasing Dragonflies also says Thief. All right, perfect. So I guess another thief or not a thief with the Coca-Cola company winning that case. But let's wrap this whole thing up. Oh, I didn't save this. Hold on. Oh shoot. Where is it? Oh, there it is.
Oh, I did say something controversial.
Yeah, there it is too.
Oh, I
So,
said two things controversial.
yeah.
God damn it.
So the first thing you said is you should quit life if you don't know the song 500 Miles. So that was the first thing. And then the second.
And just to stop you there, 500 Miles isn't actually the name of the song, but most people refer it to as the 500 Miles song. But
Right. And then you also called a complete stranger, this idiot in Nashville will write you a song. A person you have no idea if he is talented or not. You just called him some idiot in Nashville.
Yeah. Hey man, maybe one day I'll be a musician on Songfinch and I'll be that Nashville idiot.
Maybe we should sign up and see how many people actually hire our services.
They would probably be like, this song is way too complex for my life.
All right, perfect. So yeah, that was our podcast, the Crossroads Music Podcast. We are taking a break because I'm fleeing the country for a month, but we will be back on Wednesday, December 14th, with a brand new episode reviewing Nickelback's brand new album, Get Rollin'. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Music, all those wonderful places. Is there anything else I need to mention? Oh, join the Discord. Keep up with the schedule there. If something changes, the announcements will be there. I think that's it. Eric, anything I missed or any closing thoughts before we wrap this whole thing up?
I mean, 3 beers of the 7% anchors away, and I think we had a successful podcast. Come join us in the Discord. Discuss music. Tell us your favorite songs on the Midnight album. Tell us why we're wrong. We want to see if this album is actually Taylor Swift's best album, which we highly obviously don't think so.
Oh yeah, and we're very sorry to all the Swifties out there.
Yeah, and again, we're closet Taylor Swifties.
Yeah.
I think that's well established. But come talk to us in the Discord. We really want to chat with you guys and see. But we'll see you back in December. Yeah. When Christmas music will probably be drilling a hole in our brains. Yeah. So,
all right, that's it for us. We will catch you all next time.
Peace.